Hey, I'm Des.
Hey y'all, I'm Sai.
And we're the co-hosts of Let's Talk Sis podcast, where we truly believe that together empowered women can transform their lives.
Join us for heartfelt stories, enlightening conversations, and a whole lot of accountability along the way. So, we're back with another episode.
Hey.
And before we really get into our topic for today, we have a small little personal challenge going on. We're trying to limit the amount of times that we say I don't know before we speak. So,
Yes.
y'all hold us accountable and
really all of the filler words. The I don't knows, the the likes.
yeah.
It all has to go.
I definitely agree. I feel like we have definitely improved within the last few weeks of recording. I hear us fluently, being able to.
I wanted to actually add that. I wanted to say that I am really proud of us. Earlier today, I kind of binge watched all our episodes. Well, listened to. I was on Apple Podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened from episode 1 up until our last episode, which was episode 8. And just overhearing the growth from 1 to 8 with talking over each other and the way we spoke and the amount of times we said and just everything, we improved a lot. So I want to add that I'm really proud of us.
Yeah, I'm proud of us also. Yeah. And I'm really excited that this is something that's being recorded.
Yeah.
Because essentially I feel like our viewers and listeners will be able to embark on this journey with us.
Definitely, yeah. What are we discussing today?
Wait. Before we fully dive into today's episode, we wanted to give all of our listeners and viewers a special offer. 10% off of all products on our website.
I think we should give them 15.
All right.
Let's do 15. 15% off all products on our website. Just use the code DSPOD at checkout.
The website is www.dearsisterletstalk.com. Let's get back to the episode. We're talking about, the girls said they want to talk about building friendships while being an adult. So
I feel like making friends as an adult is obviously much harder than it was being kids, because it's not just like environment. You're not in school with these people. You're not necessarily, you're not living in the same neighborhood. You're just not obligated to be around these people every single day. So it's like you have to intentionally make friends as an adult.
Yeah, I agree with that somewhat. Outside of like work and other social settings that you consistently show up, whether it be the nail salon or, I don't know, your favorite restaurant or whatever the case may be. But I definitely think that
even in those settings, you're not forced to be friends with these people. You don't go there every single day.
But I don't think in school you were forced to be friends with these people.
Not necessarily, but when you're around somebody 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, it's a little different than going to a nail salon every 2 weeks.
I definitely
for 2
agree.
hours.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's relatively similar to like your place of employment.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I personally think that making friends as an adult can be extremely difficult. But because social media has literally removed the element or the necessary means of communicating and networking and actually connecting with people in real life.
Yeah.
Even thinking about like the VR, I was talking about that earlier, like the VR systems, the Oculus or whatever it's called, it's kind of like a replacement essentially for getting out,
being in the real world. Yeah, definitely.
So
I don't know. It's like the easy way out.
Is it the easy way out? Because essentially I feel like there's no way to go around making actual real life connections.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. But it's crazy because, like you said, the VR and social media, in a way, it kind of handicapped us so much because people depend on that. And people don't even know how to function in the real world, especially after like
the pandemic.
Yeah. People don't even know how to cope or function in the real world.
Yeah. So. I think for people that are like me, that are introverts naturally, but know how to work the room
Maneuver,
when
yeah.
it's time. I think that it has its pros and cons. But one thing I can say, the pandemic didn't really put too much of a strain on how I connect with people or socialize. I think that actually throughout the pandemic, I was still socializing with people. Maybe not as much or not in the beginning, like at the peak of it. Yeah. But I don't know, y'all. I was still outside.
I was about to say, I didn't do what I was supposed to do during the pandemic at all. I was outside. I was active. I was socializing, networking. I met a lot of people during the pandemic. It definitely didn't hinder me in no way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but I can definitely understand from a different perspective how someone else who might have
stayed in the
house, I was about to say, all day long, it didn't have anyone to talk to. Yeah. Didn't have those coworkers to go see. Didn't have, wasn't really going to the grocery store. Because at that time, Instacart, DoorDash, and all that, grocery delivery services was really popping. So, I mean, there was really no need for human interaction outside of those that you lived in the house with. Yeah. So I could definitely understand how the pandemic made it more difficult for you to actually connect with people in real life.
Definitely. Especially even you added like those people you live in the house with about the people that lived alone.
Oh, yeah.
It's even harder.
Yeah.
So, and it made people in a way depend on that social interaction and, that virtual interaction to where so they depended on it so much it became normal and they got comfortable with it.
Yeah. So how has making friends been for you as an adult? I know in the beginning you said that it was hard, but
for me, are we speaking as an adult from the age of 18? Or
are you an adult when you're 18? Let's start at 21.
Supposedly. Ain't nothing changed from when I was 18 till when I was 21.
I will hope that a lot changed.
As adulthood, no. I had the same responsibility at 18 as I was when I was 21. Mm-hmm. But as an adult, out of school completely, you were actually the first friend I've met as an adult out of school completely. Mm-hmm. Because even when I was out of school, when I graduated college, that was where my social circle remained. And I didn't really meet new people. I don't meet new people often. As in, like, friendships. Like, I meet a lot of networking associates and stuff like that. That's easy. That's cool. But as far as, like, actual friendships, I don't just, meet friends too often. So when I graduated school, my social circle remained the same until I ran into you.
I think we talked about this a little bit on one of our other episodes about proximity in relationships.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think that's kind of where we were going when we referred back to like the pandemic and not being able to either go to work or being in those social settings consistent enough where it's like you make these connections organically. But I think that we don't acknowledge how much proximity plays a role in maintaining and establishing friendships. So when we talk about building friendships as an adult, what are some ways that you think that we as grown, conscious individuals could extend ourselves to build friendships?
You have to be optimistic. You can't be closed-minded. You gotta be open to new minds, new personalities, just new people in general. I feel like, especially like you said, we're talking about proximity. A lot of us is used to one thing. We're used to a certain type of person or a group of people or whatever the case may be. But when you're moving around and maneuvering through adulthood and in different environments and things of that sort, you gotta be open-minded.
Yeah.
Because even in the business world or working or anything like that, I've met people that I would have never imagined I'd meet or, get along with or be friends with. So my main thing would just be optimistic. You got to be really open-minded.
So how do you navigate these different worlds essentially, or like these different types of people or different rooms that you're in. And well, before I ask how do you code switch when you're in these different rooms?
I wouldn't necessarily say I code switch. In reality, I am a little bit, I want to say shy, kind of. I'm a little bit to myself, a little bit. So I adapt in a way. I think. I don't know. I wouldn't say I code switch. Do you code switch?
I actually do code switch. Okay. And this is something that I recently became aware of while I was at work. I'm not sure what happened or what the situation or conversation was about, but I noticed that when I am around other people who look like me, I feel a little bit more fluent in the conversation. Like I don't have to think as hard or think as much about what's going to come out my mouth next when I'm talking to people that look like me, in comparison to whether it's like my managers or, the people that are superior to my position. So for me, it's kind of like,
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking. I'm thinking about the different people that I interact with, and I'm trying to figure out. I completely understand what you're saying, though. When you say look like me, are you talking about, because you also just said people that's superior or management, are we talking about physically look like you or like peers in your positions?
I'm talking about both. Okay. I'm acknowledging both. I think that people that look like me and people that are in my position or we share the same position. Yeah. As far as like title or job title, of course, I feel a little bit more comfortable with them. Yeah. And I think that that's completely normal. I'm not sure if that is considered code switching in a sense, but I just feel like for your superiors, you should have a certain level of reverence for. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just think that's what it is. But I feel myself transitioning from one conversation to another the other day, and I kind of caught myself in the midst of it like, oh, wow.
Like between two different people? Mm-hmm. That makes sense a lot.
Yeah, so when it comes to building friendships as an adult, right? What's the number one obstacle that comes to mind?
The number one obstacle for me that comes to mind is, truthfully speaking, intention.
What do you mean by that?
Everyone isn't genuine, especially not being home and being away in areas that I don't really know about or I'm really, unfamiliar with. It's definitely intention because, a lot of people could just genuinely be on the same path as I and just want to find friends. But then a lot of people got ill intentions. I've been in some foul situations with people that you think are good people. I guess it's kind of like past trauma. I've been in some foul situations.
So how do you identify the intentions of someone you don't know?
You can't. That's what the biggest obstacle is. You can't necessarily identify it because you don't want to sabotage the relationship ahead of time. Mm-hmm. You really can't. You just got to use discernment and move off faith. Mm-hmm. Definitely discernment, though. With meeting new people, making new relationships, new friendships. Because, in all, it could be the same as dating. Finding friends, dating, it's all the same thing in a way. Yeah. What do you think? Overall, do you think it's hard as an adult at all to make friends? You said it's a little hard. You said it's.
I feel like it can be difficult, but I don't think it's hard.
How could it be difficult?
I think the factors that play into its difficulty are like personal factors. Like for me personally, I don't think it's hard for me to make friends, but it could be difficult for me to make friends because of my own like social anxiety. But I wouldn't say it's hard because the opportunity is here. So if I decided that I wanted to go out and like meet people and then nurture that relationship or that friendship or whatever the case may be, I think that Houston, specifically speaking, has a lot of potential and opportunity here for friendships.
I agree. Can we break down that word hard? When you hear hard, what is it that you think of? When I say hard and when I say it, I think it's hard to make friendships, I think of uncomfortable. And I say uncomfortable as in, and it's not always the same because I've actually made other friends that wasn't so uncomfortable. Sometimes things just flow, but then sometimes it's a little bit more challenging only because of a factor that you mentioned, like for example, social anxiety. It's hard when I truthfully want to sit in my house and, be in my comfort all day long. But at the same time, I need to network and maneuver and meet people. That's hard. Getting out your comfort zone is hard overall. To me, again, that's what I think of when I think of hard. Challenging, out of the norm. These are thoughts that come to me when I say hard or when I think of hard. So that's why I asked you, because I hear you said it's not hard, but it can be difficult. And in my mind, I'm thinking that's the same thing. So that's why I asked you that.
Yeah, when I hear of hard, I think of like, I don't really know how to put it in words, so bear with me. But when I hear hard, I literally imagine like a roadblock or like a brick wall or like something that's there that I need to like climb over. And when we talk about a topic that is generalized, from speaking about a general perspective and everyone's perspective, I don't think that it's hard. So that's why I said I feel like it could be difficult. It can be difficult for someone like me who has personal issues. So I don't think that making friends or building friendships while you're an adult is hard, but I feel like there are stipulations and factors to consider that could make it difficult for you.
So how has it been for you as an adult making friendships, making new friends?
What's the age range?
You could just base it on adulthood, since you've been an adult.
I think that for me, it hasn't been difficult to make friends as an adult. And even thinking about like the range of friends that I have, most of them are so different than others,
Yeah.
Especially comparing them to like the friends that I've met in my childhood years or whatever. But one thing that I can say is that I don't believe that my friends are like one size fits all. And the friends that I do have, I feel like they're like a missing puzzle piece to me in some way, shape, or form. So like I have some friends who I can actually dive into a full-blown, articulate conversation about something of substance. And I'm not saying that I can't have the same conversation with like a childhood friend, but I think the context of our conversation or relationship is just a little bit different. So a lot of the childhood friends that I do have, especially if we don't talk consistent enough, a lot of the times when we catch up, it's like, remember when's,
Yeah.
And then I have other friends who are conspiracy theorists like me. So it's like we can really sit down and just chop it up all day, about certain things. But I don't know. I really think that my friends are like a missing puzzle piece. They're all so different in shape, comparing it to like a puzzle piece, but they fit like different versions of me. Or different parts of me, I want to say, because there's one version of me, but different parts of me. So I think that understanding myself has definitely made it easier for me to establish friendships.
Yeah.
And then establishing boundaries and having a certain expectation within myself and for myself has definitely made it easier to uphold and maintain friendships.
So, how do you feel like it's been easy or challenging for you to set boundaries within your adult friendships? I know you said like maintaining boundaries and all that type of stuff. Do you feel like it's easier to set boundaries as adults?
Yeah, I feel like it's easier for me to set boundaries as an adult. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's kind of easier to respect boundaries as an adult because it's so relevant today.
Yeah.
So, because we're all so aware of what a boundary is, how to enforce them, how to maintain them, for me, I noticed that it is easier to make sense of it and establish them earlier on in comparison to when I in my adolescent years, because it was like a boundary. A what? Like, girl, what you mean you can't come to the phone today? Like, first of all, we're not even friends if you don't answer the phone. But like little catty stuff like that, you know? So I think that yes, it's easier, but also I think experiencing life has allowed me to be more understanding.
Definitely.
So within the perimeters of friendship, I'm so understanding where it's like, girl, just because you don't come to my birthday dinner don't mean you cut off, you know?
Yeah. That's really, really big. And I'm happy you said that because I could agree with that. Like, I feel like understanding boundaries is so much easier as adults because, I mean, essentially, we all going through this life thing together. We all figuring it out. You know, we all have real life going on outside of our friendships. And yes, friendships play a huge role in your, day-to-day life, but we still are individuals. People are still getting married and having kids and all of those things outside of their friendships. So it's definitely much more understood as adults. How essential do you feel like new friendships are as adults? You know that thing that everybody has said for years, like the no new friends, I'm grown, who I came with is who I'm sticking with, all that type of. What do you feel about that?
I think it's pretty lame, honestly. And transparently speaking, I think that it's pretty shallow.
It's very shallow.
And why place those limitations on yourself, you know? Like, you might meet your best friend at 35, and having a mindset like that and a perspective as shallow as that won't even allow you to let anyone in who could possibly, be a part of your journey for the rest of your life. So, personally, I think that it's a shallow way to think. Yeah. And I think that it's not really good for us to place those type of limitations on ourselves because ultimately, we have free will and like the manpower and the brain power to do things and connect with others. But ultimately, a lot of times I believe that connections are divine.
Definitely.
So it's like if God's sending you this person in this season or in this lifetime for whatever reason, why would you?
Yeah. Who are you to deny that?
And why would you block your blessing? Like,
Yeah. And I also believe that as we grow, we go through phases and we change and we require different things. We require different people. We require different situations. So I think it's very healthy to gradually meet new people as you grow. I was actually just watching a TikTok about this the other day. It was saying like the new environments you'll be placed in, whether it's business or family, when you have kids. And I think I showed it to you. When you have kids and your kids' friends, parents, and it's so many different avenues to meeting new people. Definitely emphasis on who were you to deny that, because you could be blocking blessings.
I feel like your friends and the people that you keep around you are a true mirror of who you are or where you are at in your journey, right?
Yes.
Because thinking back when I was in middle school and beginning off in the high school, right? Mm-hmm. When I look back at those friendships that I have, and don't get me wrong, I have friendships that have lasted 10, 12, 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm saying that to say that your friends can grow with you.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. But unfortunately, the friends who haven't been able to grow with me, it's because those friends that I connected with in that period of time, they fit who I was.
Yes.
So when I look back at friendships that didn't quite make the cut, as to where I am today, I don't feel guilty about it, but I feel like that period or that friendships that I had in like that era of time, they were a mirror of who I was then at that moment.
Yes. So I agree with that 1,000%. I go through, well, I guess we all go through like growth phases. And for me, I start a new life like every certain amount of years. It's just I decide to be a new person. And I have friends from each phase of my life I've been in. Like, even if I go down my entire list of friends that I have, it's like this person is from that era, this person is from that era, this person is from that era. And even though today someone from the outside could look in like, how are you friends with that person or this person? And I recognize it so well because it's like, if I go back in time to when I met that person or when we became friends, it made sense for who I was. Because the person who I was when, like I said, when I made some of these friendships or the ways I even met some of these friends or made these friendships, I'm a completely different person today. And to think of who I am and where I am, and all of my friends somewhat in some way align a little bit, but like you said, it's a mirror of who I was at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like that's the best way to say it.
I definitely understand. Yeah, that definitely helped me understand a little bit more. But before I went into the whole mirror thing, I was going to say, whenever approaching friendships in your adulthood, I think that the quality of friendship is better in comparison to childhood, right? Because when you think about childhood, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience, it was more so the quantity over the quality of friendships, you know? So as we navigate life and we experience our own individual journeys, especially when you're committed to growth, I think that all of the friends that I've met within the last 10 years, we all have a common ground of likeness, right? And I think that, like you said, they all have some sort of correlation. And I think that the correlation is in character and values and things of that nature. But when we talk about personality, it's completely different, you know? So, and I think that it comes down to, I don't know if it's code switching or not. Because I have certain friends for certain things, right? And it doesn't mean that some friends can't transition into being a friend for something else or whatever the case may be. And then also, I feel like in certain seasons, I might be a little bit closer with this friend than I am in another season. But I think that the beauty in all of that is, as adults, from being able to share our experiences, we gain a certain level of understanding and wisdom throughout our experiences that make our perspective not so shallow and catty as it is when we're children, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not having any conversations or any arguments with my friends about who didn't show up to my birthday dinner or you didn't answer your phone, so we must not be cool, or, you know, the same arguments that I could reflect on vividly having when I was in high school and middle school and stuff like that. So I think it's really a beautiful thing to...
It is. It's growth.
Yeah, to meet people as an adult, you know?
Definitely. It's growth. Because, like you said, some of them things don't even come to mind anymore. Yeah. It's not even a thought. So, yeah. Definitely quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm taking this conversation a little left, but I think that I was having a conversation with someone within the community the other day, and we were talking about mirrors, right? And it reminded me because we just were talking about that in the aspect of friendship. But this is left field, but the things that you have noticed that you don't like in your relationships or friendships or in people, have you ever noticed that they're within you?
Yes. That's why I agree with your friends are mirrors of you at that time of your life. I recognize that more so today because I do a lot of reflecting on my relationships, on myself, my friendships, all of those type of things. And yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. The things that I wouldn't necessarily say don't like, but definitely moments in my life resemble. For sure. Everybody that I'm friends with, like I said, I met all my friends at different phases of my life. But again, if I think back to the phases or the times or where I was personally in my personal journey, when I met these people, like I said, I feel like the best way for me to say it is it just made sense. And so now, as an adult and more self-aware than I think I've probably ever been, I'm able to identify those traits in younger versions of myself.
But I'm talking about like current, recent.
What do you mean?
So like, for example, in our relationship, right? Let's say there's a trait or something that you don't like about me or you're not too fond of, right? Do you think that, have you ever experienced that being a mirror of yourself?
Yes. I think I say it to you quite often. I've mentioned a lot, like that'll piss me off, and I'm like, yeah, that's something I would do. That's how I recognize it so well. For sure.
Yeah, I think that within the past year, I have been able to identify that almost every single thing that I have verbally said that I didn't like about somebody was something that resonated with me.
Yeah.
Whether it was who I used to be or if it was something that I might struggle with today. Yeah. And I think it's so ironic how deep and divine connections are sometimes. Because sometimes I feel like friendships or people in general are, you cross paths with them and they're placed in your life to kind of show you what not to do or,
I was literally just about to say that. I feel like I say it quite often that I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And every single person, whether it's for a season or forever, every single person is placed in your life to teach you something.
Yeah.
And I noticed that a lot. Even in our friendship, it'll be little stuff and it's like I'll recognize that's something I do, but I realize how much I dislike it, and it's like, damn. Like when we was talking about prying the other day, I know that's something I truly, truly do not like, and then it's like, damn, is that something I do? Like, I don't want nobody to feel like I feel right now.
Yeah.
I do that a lot, so definitely everybody is placed in your life to teach you things, because if you don't have these mirrors, essentially, to show you your dislikes or the areas that you need to grow, how would you ever know?
Yeah, but even thinking about, like, I just said that I learned this within the last year, right? So it forces me to reflect back on all of my connections and the way that I interacted with people prior to the past year,
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like I unlocked a new level of awareness recently within the last year that has forced me to have a certain level of compassion for people that was not present before.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a person that puts myself in people's shoes a lot. I always have. So even if it's something that because I just learned this in therapy. Your friends and your relationships and everything being a mirror of yourself. I just learned that in therapy recently, like my recent.
That's crazy because I've just learned that from experiencing life, like recently, like just reflecting back on friendships, and relationships, and being like, why does this feel so familiar? Yeah, like this thing that I don't like about you, or I'm not too fond of. It feels familiar, you know. Yeah.
I was very, very unaware. It wasn't until, like I said, I was talking to my therapist, and I'm verbally expressing to her these things that I dislike in these people or these traits that I dislike, and she's twisted my mind back like, but in this situation, didn't you say you dealt with this that way? Or didn't you say, like, she the one that made me recognize, that, damn, that's what that is. It's a mirror. So that made me focus on bettering these things about myself more. But like I said, I've always had that compassion for people, because I always, even if it's something that I wouldn't do, or I think I wouldn't do, or it's something that that'll never be me type of thing, I still had some type of grace and compassion, because it's like, I don't know, that's the way my brain works. It's like I always try to be so understanding of everybody. But more so recently, now that I recognize I was there once. Like, okay, just because I grew past that, they're probably still in that phase. They're still growing through it. Yeah. So, but I definitely just identified that in therapy.
Overall, I feel like friendships are really beautiful. Yeah. If I could explain how I feel so deep about my friends and my friendships, I don't know. I just feel like it's heaven sent, you know? Yeah. And thinking back on some of the friends who have experienced some of the most vulnerable situations of my life, and not changing your perspective of me. Yeah. Not judging. Not being judgmental, being the cornerstone of, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, wow, I think that, I don't know, I say this all the time, but community and friendship and companionship in totality is just so important. Yeah. And I feel like along the way, within the last few years, we as a whole have reached this place where it's like we don't value companionship as much as we should.
Yeah. You hear so many people so often say, like, they don't need friends, they don't need a partner. You need that. Yeah. Like, I feel like
I need that.
I'm about to say, I need that. Like, I wouldn't have survived certain things if it wasn't for my friends.
Honestly. And even when we look back at mankind, I'm so excited. We're within the community, y'all, we have Bible study, and we're reading Genesis right now. But I was just going to say, like, Adam couldn't even essentially survive in the garden without Eve. Yep. Like, he knew something was missing. He knew it was missing. Like, God, he didn't even know. Something that
he's never seen, never met.
He never even knew what a female was.
But he knew it was a part of him.
He just knew something was missing. And it's like, when I hear people say, oh, I don't need friends, it kind of just automatically makes me think, like, who hurt you? Yeah. Or like, what did you experience?
What trauma have you been through to make you feel that way?
Yeah, like, who tainted your experience of friendship? It kind of makes me want to be your friend, because it's
I was about to say that. It kind of, in my head, for sure, it always makes me like,
oh, girl, you ain't. Yeah, like, girl, you ain't never have a friend like me.
Like, you did not have a good friend.
Yeah. Even through disagreements, like, I recently reconnected with a friend who I kind of took a step back from. Mm-hmm. And my mom has this saying, like, sometimes it's piss, sometimes it's water. Mm-hmm. And ultimately it means, like, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Yeah. But even when I'm going through hardships with friends, or even if we're not friends anymore, you know, I still have this certain level of reverence and respect for them. Yeah. Because it's like, bro, like, I just look at you different. I value you differently. I appreciate you. So it's like, I'm not going to be talking about you. I'm not going to have nothing negative to say.
Yeah.
It's really all it's really all love. And even reconciling with a friend recently, I'm just so grateful for reconciliation, and I'm grateful for awareness and maturity, right?
Maturity,
because to be able to come together as two grown people and say, okay, yeah, we took some time apart, but this is where I was wrong, this is where you were wrong, and kind of be able to progress from that is so beautiful. Because younger me, I was just like, oh, I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm cool. I'm on to the next friend. Like, you fake.
It's so funny because me and a friend was just having a conversation about this the other day, like about growth and how being younger, it was so easy to just, I will never talk to you again. But now, how much we value our friendships and how much we value our sisters, it's like, damn, I miss my friend. Like, you was a good friend. Like, it's definitely maturity for sure.
Yeah. And understanding. I'm just so happy. Because when I think about where I am today and the level of awareness and understanding and all of these things that we continuously talk about that I have today, I literally cannot fathom how I was navigating through the world without these things prior.
Yeah.
Like, the quality of my relationships weren't that great, honestly.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm just happy for where I am today in the journey or process of acknowledgement. But getting back on track to building friendships, how do you suggest one person take inventory of whether the friendship is substantial or not?
How do you feel when you speak to this friend? How does it make you feel internally? Like, is it substantial? Is it shallow? What do you get from this? Does it feed you at all? Does it fill your cup? That's how I personally do it. Like, if I'm talking to you and I feel absolutely drained after the conversations, or if I feel
continuously, right?
Yeah, continuously, like, empty and just not fulfilled, there's no value here.
Yeah.
So it's definitely how you feel internally when you associate yourself with this person.
So if you do feel like maybe you've taken mental inventory or mental note of a friendship and it's not sustainable to you, how do you present the conversation?
I am not the best person to ask this question because I don't. So I'm going to be honest with you. I've had experiences like this, and I have still to this day friends that I've just acknowledged that this doesn't serve me.
You have acknowledged that to them or within yourself?
Within myself. And we're still friends. I wouldn't say we're no longer friends or there's any, issue or anything. I just take a step back.
You know what I noticed? I feel like when two people are committed to growth and this has nothing to do with the pace or speed at which two people are growing, right? I think that when one person is not committed to growth within the relationship or friendship, I feel like there's organically going to be some sort of distance.
Yeah.
Because the interests no longer align, the conversations don't align. So it's one of those things where it's like, in some cases, I don't have to even acknowledge or initiate a conversation because organically we're just going to stop communicating.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I have experienced knowing that this relationship or friendship doesn't fulfill me, right? But this person is still initiating communication consistently, and the level, I want to say, of communication that they're trying to uphold just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
And I think that being real with myself, it's a dishonor to continuously uphold something that doesn't fulfill me or feel good within. Definitely. So I think that recently I have just reached a point of maturity where it's like, I love you. And
how do you communicate that? What you mean, you know?
It's just not like, I just don't think that this is going anywhere.
That's what you tell your friend?
Yeah. But I feel like at the point of me saying that, we're not friends. Yeah. Because I feel like I have this
bad... Sounds like a breakup.
Yeah, I have this bad habit of calling people a friend who are no longer friends. Like, for some reason, obviously there's some sort of emotional bondage there, but yeah. I think I hold on to people way longer than I actually need to, because I can say, oh, that's my friend, or this and the third, but it doesn't feel like a friend. I know it's not a friendship.
I actually do that quite often, and I do it to the point where I don't even recognize it. I have some moments of reality, and then it's like some moments of just talking, I guess. And it comes out organically. There's been times I've mentioned people to you, and you be like, your friend, right? And I be like, not really. Like, well, you said that was your friend. I was like, yeah, it used to be my friend, but not really. Like, yeah, it just organically comes out as that. But then it's like, when you realistically think about it, it's like, we're not friends.
Yeah. And I think those are the ones that hurt the most a little bit. Sometimes, I want to say.
Sometimes, yeah, definitely sometimes. To piggyback off what you were saying about friends knowing or realizing it when you realize it, I feel like, for me personally, there is sometimes a mutual understanding and sometimes not, when the conversation just doesn't align. The things that they want to talk about, it's like I don't even have responses to those things. So then it becomes those one-ended conversations. Now we're on the phone and you just talked for 30 minutes or an hour or however long, and I've said absolutely nothing. Or even vice versa. If I begin talking about the things that interest me or that I want to talk about, and you have nothing to respond and say.
Girl, you better than me, because after a good 10-15 minutes of feeling energy,
I was giving an example. After about 10-15 minutes, I'm quick to tell somebody, I'm gonna call you back.
Yeah, I'll be like, hold on real quick. Somebody hold on. It might hang up. It's FaceTime.
I don't even explain that much.
Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even explain that much. It's definitely a quick, like, yeah, for real. Wait, let me call you back real fast. That's my favorite thing. But what I'm saying is, I feel like something like that, and this could be just me assuming, but I just personally feel like stuff like that, how is that not mutually recognized?
That's definitely assuming, but yeah, I feel you.
So yeah.
Like, how aren't you able to, like, read the room?
Exactly. Why can't you read the room? Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like this topic was really good, honestly. I enjoyed this conversation, and hopefully the girls can,
Yeah, I hope somebody could take something from this, especially, I mean, we're all adults. I was about to say especially adults. We're all adults, and we're maneuvering, and I want y'all to get out and network. Meet new people.
Yeah, challenge yourself in the coming new year to really get outside and meet some new people, because one thing for sure, two things for certain, you never know who you're crossing paths with. Exactly. Like, yes, in that initial engagement or interaction or information exchange, you might have gotten a name and you might have, got the surface level of things, but you never know if that might be your next investor, your next business partner, your sister, the godmom of your child in the future, like literally. So just, I don't know, give that person a try.
Be optimistic, be open-minded, and meet new people for sure. Give people chances. You have to give people chances. And I feel like, especially being from where we're from, it's such a stigma. Like, it's not Joe. You're not doing too much. Network, be friendly, meet these people. Yeah. Don't give the mean girl energy or the nasty stink face. You gotta be open. Your energy, just be open to meeting new people for sure.
Before we go, I want to read one of the questions that we have from the sister in the community. Yeah. Okay, so Brittany said, at what point in your friendship were you guys able to transition over into business partners? Like, how did you know? That's a really good question.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a really good question, because we transitioned into business partners pretty soon in our friendship.
Yeah, we did.
Like, really, really soon in our friendship. So, I don't think we knew. Well, I didn't.
Yeah. I don't think that we knew, but I think that
it was like a little bit of a divine feeling.
I was about to say that. Oh my gosh. I was going to say it was divine timing because we both approached the idea at the same time.
And it's so crazy because I remember it so vividly. I remember when I talked to Simos about it first. I talked to one of our mutual friends. I mentioned it to him. I thought about it, and I'm like, yo, would this be a good idea? He like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. And I thought about it, and then when I mentioned it to you, you like, wait, because I was just thinking that, and literally, but you was thinking like a different angle, whatever. But he's like, I was just thinking that same thing, and I'm like, wow,
yeah.
And the crazy thing about it is, I was a little hesitant on even thinking like bringing it to you or mentioning it because I kept like, I double think everything, and it was like, but yeah,
here we are,
right?
Yeah. So to answer your question, Britt. I don't think that there was like a significant moment or occurrence that took place. But what I can say is I would have never moved forward with transitioning into business partners if I would have never thought that the internal side or factors were aligned.
Yeah.
So when we talk about like integrity and character and values and things like that, I think that aligned. So it was easier for me to step into the business realm. And it's so crazy because I've never seen you operate in a business world prior to. So it was really just based off of like a character judgment,
Yeah.
In the space that we were in at the time. But like I said, here we are.
We're making it through the trenches, Britt.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it was definitely, it's not like a perfect timing type of thing. I don't think it's like that with anything in life though. I don't think anything is like perfect timing. So yeah, thank you for the question, Britt. Guys, if you have any questions, that was a good question on our friendship.
Yeah, that was a really good question. And like Des was saying, if anyone has any other questions, please do not hesitate. DM us, comment under whatever platform you're listening or viewing this on. We're trying our best to make sure that this is an inclusive experience for all of us. Y'all, we're coming to the end of season 1, and I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know.
That's crazy. I think we even just got into the thought of seasons within the last like episodes.
It
wasn't even like, because we've just been gliding through, I feel like,
and learning as we
go, and not even realizing that like, damn, here we are 9 episodes in.
Yeah, that's deep.
So I heard the milestone for people was like, how many episodes that people don't make it past? A lot of podcasts don't make it past.
I don't know, but I definitely know what you're talking about. I think we had this conversation earlier on.
Yeah,
but I think we beat the statistic, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the statistic is like between 10 and 12. So we shooting.
Well, if we show up next week,
we got it.
Nonetheless, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode with us. It has really been an honor and a pleasure to continue to have these conversations, and it means the world to us to have your participation, your engagement. And before you go, don't forget to leave us a rating, comment, like, share, subscribe, and
send this to your sister right now. Send it to your friend. Send it to your bestie.
Yeah.
And let them know that you appreciate them and how much you value their friendship.
Yeah. Well, there you go, your challenge. Y'all, let us know how we did today on cutting down on the I don't knows before we speak.
Yes.
All right, y'all. See y'all next week.
Toodles.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast, Let's Talk Sis, with Des and Sa.
Stay connected by following us on all of your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget, use hashtag Dear Sister Let's Talk to find us.
Wait, before you go, head over to our website or our Instagram and join our interactive community for a daily dose of sisterhood, where like-minded women fellowship, encourage, and create a safe space amongst one another.
See you inside, sis.
Toodles.
Bye.